Now, today we will be discussing to the second part of the teaching aptitude. Majorly, the discussions of the teaching aptitude for today's sessions will be focused on different teaching methods, learning methods, smart classroom, and different online courses. That will be the focal points of today's discussion. So let's start with our lesson. So first, let me start with what is a teaching method? Because we will have to get the idea, the knowledge about the teaching method. Then we can move on to the different teaching methods that are available in this era and what particular teaching method will be used for which particular content and for which targeted learners. So teaching method, the teaching method is the systematic way a teacher organizes learning experiences to achieve specific learning outcomes. What I have told, teaching method is a systematic way a teacher organizes learning experiences to achieve specific learning outcomes. What are the different good or effective teaching methods that are available? The type of good teaching methods will be learner-centered, interactive, flexible, outcome-based, as well as inclusive. These are the features or characteristics which may be there in the particular teaching method which we can or the teacher can utilize in the classroom session. But whenever a particular teaching method is to be selected for the particular content part and for the particular target learners, there are some factors on which the selection depends. What are the factors? The learning objectives, learner characteristics, subject matter that is to be taught, the time available for teaching of that particular content, resources, as well as class size. So these are the factors depending on which the learner, the teacher can select the specific teaching method for the specific content. So if we are moving on to the classifications of the teaching methods, that means what are the types and classifications of teaching methods? The teaching methods, when the teacher is going to choose, there are the two categories. Some methods are totally teacher-centered and some methods are learner-centered. So let me know what are the teaching methods which are teacher-centered. The methods are lecture method, demonstration method, storytelling, and explanation. All these methods, they are teacher-dominated or teacher-centered method. If we are moving on to the learner-centered method, what are the learner-centered methods? Discussion method, project method, problem solving, inquiry-based method, cooperative learning based method, and experiential learning based method. These are the learner-centered method. So conventionally, the teaching portfolio that was continued, that was totally based onto the teacher-centered method. But according to the National Education Policy, the method should be learner-centered. That means each and every method should focus on the specific need and demand of the learner. And on that particular perspective, the method of teaching is to be chosen. So The important method for 21st century, they are the learner-centered method and specifically focusing on either of the discussion method, project method, problem-solving method, inquiry-based method, cooperative learning method, and experiential learning-based method. I'm just reminding you major questions that are coming in the teaching aptitude part from this teaching method part in NET, JRF questionnaires or examinations. So we will have to clearly understand each and every of this method, their characteristics, their features, what are their advantages, what they are providing, and exactly what is the expected outcome to be generated with respect to these specific methods. So come on to the first teaching method, that is lecture method, right? And of course, it is teacher dominated method or teacher centered method. What are the characteristics of this lecture method, or what are the features that are incorporated in this lecture method? Number one, this is of course what I've told is a teacher centered, and this particular method is suitable for large classes. So lots of students, lots of learners can be covered up with respect to this method. This method is economical and it is time efficient. Lots of different major topics can be covered within a stipulated time period with respect to this method. What are the advantages of this method? The number one, this particular method covers the syllabus quickly, but because there is a particular time framework by which the syllabus is to be completed, and on the basis of that, there is a lesson plan by which each and every topic is to be covered within a particular stipulated period or number of periods. So, if this particular method is used, it covers the syllabus quickly. And it is also useful for introducing a new topic. And it is suitable for the higher education. So these are the advantages that we may get by teaching through the lecture method. But there are certain limitations, or you can say that is a drawback of this particular method, because each and every method has certain limitation, and that's why we will have to choose the particular method depending on that particular content to avoid all those limitations and drawback. So what are the limitations of lecture method? Number one, it is a passive learning, because in this method, students or learners are not directly or actively participating in the process of teaching. They are the passive learner. And second limitation, limited student participation. Third limitation, it is difficult to assess the understanding during the lecture, because the teacher is continuously providing the lecture and within the time, the student interaction is not so much. So automatically, it is very difficult to assess the understanding of the student during the lecture. So these are the limitation or drawbacks for this particular method. Where it is to be best used, this lecture method? The lecture method is to be best used for orientation sessions, for concept introduction, and for review lectures. For these three alternative situations, lecture method can be bestly used. Next, we come on to the discussion method. So, in case of discussion method, so what we can say, student exchange ideas to deepen the understanding under the teacher's guidance. So here student is actively participating. They are participating in the particular process of the discussion with respect to the topic or issue that is raised by the teacher. And within that particular discussion process being continued, teacher will act as a facilitator or guide to just having an exchange of ideas and can be able to deepen the understanding of the students. So discussion method, it is the students exchange ideas to deepen understanding under the teacher's guidance. What are the different forms or types of the discussion method? The types are, that is a group discussion form, panel discussion form. It can be in the form of seminar. It can be in the form of symposium, or it can be in the form of debate. Any of such form can be introduced into the classroom to continue with the discussion session. Right. Now, what are the advantages of this teaching method? Advantages, that is the active participation, the communication skills, the critical thinking, and teamwork. These are the advantages, or these are the outcome can be obtained with respect to this discussion method. What I have told, what are the advantages? Active participation, communication skills are generated, critical thinking is possible, as well as there is a teamwork. Now, just give an example of the discussion method. The teacher is going to teach the artificial intelligence or the effect of artificial intelligence in the classroom. So teacher is not starting with the definition of artificial intelligence and its feature in the discussion method. What the teacher do? Teacher is raising a topic, raising an issue, right? Should AI replace traditional examinations? That issue is generated by the teacher. Then students will do the group discussions or panel discussions, and therefrom they are generating the ideas, and that ideas they will present to the teacher. Teacher will collaborate all these ideas in a nutshell and generate a particular outcome or result, giving the statement to make them understand about the artificial intelligence and its functioning or work. So this is the situation where we can use the discussion method. Okay. So next we move on to the next teaching method. That is a demonstration method. This particular method is very much useful for the STEM subject teaching, that is the science and things. But other subject, we are also using this particular method, but these are very much useful for the STEM subject or science subject teaching. Now, what is demonstration method? The demonstration method, the teacher shows how to perform a task while learners observe and practice. So there is an active participation of the learner in the classroom session when the demonstration method is used, because teacher showing it how to perform, student or learner observe, participate, do the practice, generate the result, and result is the ultimate outcome of the lesson that is to be delivered. Now, where it is suitable, where this method is suitable, because the method is suitable for science experiments, laboratory work, computer application topics, for the skill development, as well as for the teacher education. For these era, this particular demonstration method is very much useful. If we are slightly giving this type of explanations in the classroom part. That means if you are asking the students, demonstrating the use of a microscope, use of a microscope before practical work. That means we are not moving directly to the laboratory. In the classroom, we are trying to demonstrate exactly the use and functionality of a microscope and its different parts. That is shown by the teacher, and the students will observe and try to do the practicing. So if the student become ready for handling of the microscope, then they can be transferred to the laboratory for doing or performing the experiments with respect to the microscope. So that is very much useful for the demonstration method. Now, what are the steps that are to be followed in the demonstration method? First, explain, then demonstrate. After that, observe, then practice, and then give the feedback. So these are the stages by which the demonstration method can continue. Explanation, demonstration, then observation, then doing the practice, then giving the feedback. That is the outcome of the particular demonstration method that is pursued. Okay, next we will move on to the project method. The project method that was developed by William H. Kilpatrick. This project method, here directly teacher is not teaching any particular topic. Teacher will develop a particular project work with respect to the content that is to be delivered. And that project is assigned to the group of students in the classroom. And within the classroom, with respect to the teacher's guidance, they will perform doing the work into that project, collecting the information, analyzing the information, generating a particular result, and informing that result to the teacher group-wise. Now, teacher will collect all those information which are ultimately generated from the different project groups in the class, and then generating the final outcome or final result. So that is the project method. Now, what is the principles of the project method? That is learning by doing. Here, students or learners, they are learning by actively participating in the teaching part. So it's a very interesting and very understandable features for the young learners. So the principles are learning by doing, dealing with the real life problems. Here the student autonomy is there. There is a collaboration of the different students, and there is a chance of reflection. That means the student's idea about the different problems or issues that are connected with the particular topic that is to be taught. So this is the principles of the project method: learning by doing, real life problems, student autonomy, collaboration, and reflection. Can I cite a one classroom example? Like, conduct a survey on digital learning habits among college students and prepare a report. This is a particular thing. The topic was the digital learning. So teacher is not going to teach the digital learning. So what the teacher is doing? Teacher is conducting a survey on digital learning habits among the college students, that means they are students, and ask the students to do the analysis and prepare a report. On the basis of that report, teacher will generate the ultimate conclusion or decision. What are the benefits we are getting from here, from this particular method or such type of method to be invoked? Benefits are, there's a creativity that is nurtured, students' creativity is nurtured. is nurturing the research skills of the students. Very good communication can be done. The leadership quality is tested and enunciated. And there is a very good time management lesson can be taught with respect to this particular teaching method. So benefits are creativity, research skills, communication, leadership, and time management. Next teaching method, that is the problem solving method. There is a very interesting method also. In this situation, the same thing, the teacher is not going to teach a particular topic. Teacher is generating the different problems which can cover up the whole topic that is to be taught or that is to be nurtured. And the problem is assigned to the student to identify the exactly causes or the conditions of the problem, to do the analysis, to evaluate it, and to find out the solution. So different probable solutions that may come from the different students. Now, and those are presented to the teacher. Teacher will do the analysis of the different solutions and generate the ultimate and effective solutions for the problem. That is the problem solving method. So problem solving method, students solve authentic problems through inquiry and logical reasoning. That is the problem solving method. What are the steps? First, identify the problem, then collect information, then generate alternatives, evaluate options, then select solution, and after that, review the result. Can you cite one example? Like, how can schools reduce plastic waste on campus? This is the issue. Or rather, you can say, this is the real life problem that they're facing. The problem is raised. What the student will do? Student will investigate, collect data, and propose the solution. Then teacher will collect the solution from the different students, do the analysis onto that particular solution, and generate the ultimate effective probable solution within it. So that is the problem solving method. Next, we come to the inquiry-based teaching method. So inquiry-based teaching method, in short, it can also be said as IBL. It is totally the learner-centered approach in which students investigate questions, problems, or scenarios to construct their own understanding. Now, in case of problem solving, problem is constructed by the teacher, and student try to investigate onto the problem. But in inquiry-based teaching method, the problem has to identified by the students. They have to investigate questions, they have to identify the problem, then they have to analyze the scenarios to construct their own understanding. What the teacher will do? Teacher will only be the facilitator and guide in this respect. What are the steps that are to be followed in inquiry-based teaching method? First, ask question, then investigate, then collect evidence, then analyze findings, draw conclusion, and present the results in front of the teacher. I'm repeating what are the steps, but ask questions, because if you're not asking questions to the particular situation, we cannot generate the problem or the conditions for the problem. So ask question, then investigate, collect evidence, then analyze findings, draw conclusion, and after that, present the results. What is the teacher's role here? Teacher is the facilitator, mentor, and resource person in case of inquiry-based teaching method. Just giving an example. A teacher is raising an issue. Why do some cities experience more flooding than others? Giving no hints, nothing. Teacher is just raising the issue. Students, what the student will do? Student research rainfall data, drainage system, and urban planning before presenting the conclusion. So their creativity is nurtured, their inquiry-based approach is nurtured. Okay, so this is the inquiry-based teaching method. Now, we are moving on to the learning method. See, though it is a learning method, this is also a teaching method, but the teaching and learning is simulated with each other. So specifically the method that I am going to discuss now, they are considered as a learning method, but for that learning method, teaching process are to be executed also. So first we are coming to the cooperative learning. What is that? Students work together in small heterogeneous groups to achieve common learning goals. The whole classroom is divided into the different heterogeneous groups. They are assigned with each and every group is assigned to the different problems. The group are discussing among themselves, generating the probable solution. Then each group leader will present the particular solution to the teacher, and teacher will collaborate with all the solution obtained from the different group and then nurturing it and doing a decision. So this is the cooperative learning. What are the essential elements in cooperative learning? The positive interdependency, individual accountability. Each and every student is getting focused and getting importance in the process of teaching. So individual accountability is there. Face-to-face interaction is possible. Collaborative skills are there. And of course, there is a group reflections. So these are the essential elements. What are the benefits that we are getting with the cooperative learning? Better communication, leadership development, social skills, higher academic achievement, as well as inclusive participation. These are the benefits that we are getting from the cooperative learning. Now we are talking about a very unique and of course the 21st century learning method or in simulation with the teaching method. That is the flipped classroom. What is flipped classroom? Flipped classroom is something where each and every content and reading materials are given beforehand to the students before starting up the class. Student will go through it in their own pace and generating a particular idea. Then when they will join to the classroom for doing the classes, within the class, there will have a discussion onto the topic content that was given to them beforehand. So there is a flipping the content from the before giving session to the classroom session. That is the flip time. Now, I'm just giving a comparison. What was the approach of the traditional model and what are the approach in this flipped model? In traditional model, what is exactly done? First, there is a classroom. Students are there as well as teacher is present over there. There is a lecture session, and after lecture being completed, teacher is giving a homework. Student will return back to the home, do the homework, bringing down to the teacher, and teacher in the next class will check up the homework and giving his or her opinion. There is a traditional format of classroom. There is a traditional model. But in flipped classroom technique, we are providing the material beforehand to the student. And of course, we should provide a good time for students to prepare for that. And that materials can be in the form of video, in the form of reading materials, that is PDF, etc. So we can provide that things to the student before and at home. And that was given before the classroom session. Okay, the student there at their own pace will watch the video, going through the reading materials and generating a particular idea. Then the day on which the class is to be taken, students are coming down to the classroom and teacher may have the discussion, activities and solution on the basis of the materials that was given the student beforehand. So it is the flipping model or flipped model, right? So this is the most appropriate and effective model in the 21st century, the flipped classroom technique learning models. What are the advantages that you are getting here? More classroom interaction is possible. Better student engagement is possible. Learning can be done in the self-paced preparation. And fourth, there is an active learning which can occur with respect to this flipped classroom technique. So the advantages are more classroom interaction, better student engagement, self-paced preparation, and active learning. Now, if I'm just giving a simple example, student watch a recorded lecture on assessment before attending class or for case discussion. The case was given to the student and there was a structure also given to the student how they will study the case. So they will be doing the case study beforehand at their own pace, and when in the class, their observations that are being analyzed and activities and problem solving will be done onto that. So this is one example that we can do or follow up in the flipped classroom technique or flipped classroom learning methods. We come on to the blended learning. The blended learning, it is the combination of the two modes, that is face-to-face teaching as well as online learning. Now see, if a classroom having a 70 or 80 student, it may so happen that some of the students are not able to come on a particular day, right? So they may miss the lesson because they are not coming down to the class. So if the particular teaching method is conducted in such a way that the full classroom session in the either in lecture method, demonstration method, or discussion method that is continued, and that is transferred or communicated to the online mode also in the virtual part, then the students who are unable to come down to the class, they are being their own room at home or some other place, they can observe the class and can do the interaction with the teacher. So this is simultaneously face-to-face teaching and online learning. Both are possible in case of blended learning. So blended learning combines face-to-face teaching with online learning. So it becomes very much useful for the students who are able to join into the class and for also the other student who are not able to join to the class onto that particular session. What are the components of this blended learning? The first, that is the classroom teaching, online learning, and mobile learning. So all these three factors that are collaboratively involved in the form of this blended learning. What are the benefits that we are getting through the blended learning? First, it is a flexible learning. Student can learn at their own pace, at their own time, from anywhere. Not mandatorily they will be having in the class. So benefits are there, the flexible learning, personalized space, better resource access, increase learner autonomy. So these are the benefits of the blended learning. Just we can give an example for this. Weekly classroom lectures supported by quizzes and discussion forums on an LMS or learning management system. That can be done through the blended mode or in the blended learning way. So the different methods that I have already discussed, what their benefit approaches, benefits, what are the advantages, what are the different components that they have. Now I am moving on to the different individual topic which are very much important for the 21st century teaching learning process and also very much important for your UGC NET JRF examinations also. First, come on to the information and communication technology, ICT, in education. We have heard of the name very much, but we have to precisely know exactly its meaning, its tools and benefits. So what is ICT? ICT, that is the information and communication technology, refers to the use of digital technologies to enhance teaching, learning, communication, and educational management. That is the ICT. What are the ICT tools that we are using in the process of teaching, learning, communication, or in educational management? The tools are computers, smartphones, internet, smart boards, cloud platform, video conferencing. All these are considered as the ICT tools, useful for doing or enhancing the process of teaching, learning, communication, and educational management. What are the benefits if you are using the ICT tools in the process of education? Interactive learning is possible, collaboration, accessibility, digital literacy, and also the flexible learning. So these are the benefits that we are getting from the ICT or ICT in education. Now, you have come to know I have mentioned one of the ICT tool here, that is a smart board. Where the smart board is used? Of course, in a smart classroom. So let me know exactly what is smart classroom, what are the features in a smart classroom, what the advantages that we can get from the smart classroom. Let's start. The smart classroom, what are the features? There is an interactive whiteboard or the smart board. There is a digital projector, high-speed internet, learning apps, which you can see also the learning management system apps, audio-visual content, online assessment, AI-supported learning tools. These are the features. If these features are there in a classroom for conducting a teaching learning process, then it will be considered as a smart classroom. What are the advantages that you are getting from the smart classroom? Higher engagement, better visualization, immediate feedback, and active participation. These we can get from the smart classroom. Just I'm giving one example, that using simulations to demonstrate chemical reactions. Simulation means doing chemical experiment, and along with doing the chemical experiment, you can just demonstrate the reaction as well as the output of that reaction. But that particular thing, you don't have to do in the laboratory. There are the smart equipments or ICT-based tools by which you can perform digitally the experiment, the chemical reaction, and therefrom you can make the student understand exactly the reaction and their output. No need of textbook diagrams, no need of drawing the figures onto the board, no need of to use the laboratory instruments in the classroom. So that is the one of the way by which we can utilize the smart classroom in the teaching learning process. Now we come on to the learning management system, LMS. That is, or you can say it is a learning management apps that we are using to teach, to do the quizzes, to do the communication, to do the assessment, as well as to evaluate and judge the students. So that is the learning management system, or LMS. So what is LMS? It is a software platform used to manage, deliver, and monitor learning. Everything can be done through the learning management system. In the LMS, we can give the study materials. We can do the teaching through the learning management system. We can do the assessment of the students with respect to the questions. We can set up the quizzes for performing the quizzes to the students. Everything can be done through the LMS, or learning management system. So it is an useful software platform used to manage, deliver, and monitor learning. We can just name the popular LMS platform that we may use: Moodle, Google Classroom, Canvas, of course the Blackboard we have, and Microsoft Teams. These are the certain LMS platform that we can use for managing, delivering, and monitoring the teaching learning process. Now, what are exactly the functions of this learning management system or platform? Upload study materials, as I have already told, conduct quizzes, grade assignments for the students can be done. It can track attendance also, and it can also provide the feedback. What the teacher getting the benefit within it? Centralized management of teaching and assessment is possible. Teacher can control or manage the teaching as well as assessment from a centralized part, from one point. So that is the main benefit that the teacher may get when they're using the LMS, or learning management system, in teaching. Now come on to the educational technology. Now educational technology, the term is already everybody knows, but precisely we have to know the definition, the components, and examples for the educational technology process. So definition we can give: educational technology. Educational technology is the systematic application of scientific knowledge and technological resources to improve teaching and learning. So it is a systematic application of scientific knowledge and technological resources to improve teaching and learning. What are the components? What are the parts of this educational technology? Hardware, software, digital content, teaching strategies, and assessment tools. If I'm giving examples of the educational technological tools or processes, we can give the virtual laboratories, educational simulations, interactive presentations, AI tutors, and educational games. These are the different examples of the educational technological tools that we can use. Come on to the digital teaching tools. Now, just we have to know exactly the name of the digital teaching tools which are widely used, because all these names are asked, and you will have to figure out and pointing out the exact name of the particular digital teaching tools in the answer. So we are going to discuss the digital teaching tools. Now, we will discuss the digital name of the digital tools purpose-wise. For content creation, what are the tools we are using? PowerPoint, Canva, Genially. These are the tools that we are using for the content creation. For assessment, what the digital tools we are using? Google Forms, Kahoot, and Quizy. These are the assessmental digital tools. For collaboration purpose, what are the teaching tools we are using? Or we use Padlet, Jamboard, Miro. For communication, we are using, or we use rather, Zoom, Microsoft Teams, Google Meet. For AI-assisted teaching, we use ChatGPT, Microsoft Copilot. So these are the teaching tools. I think I should have to tell you again, just to make it to be fixed in your mind, exactly what are the tools and for which purpose those tools are used. So for content creation purpose, the tools are PowerPoint, Canva, Genially. For assessment purpose, tools are Google Forms, Kahoot, Quizy. For collaboration purpose, the tools are Padlet, Jamboard, Miro. For communication purpose, tools are Zoom, Microsoft Teams, Google Meet. For AI-assisted teaching, the tools are ChatGPT, Microsoft Copilot. Now we come on to another important topics or features are contained, that is measurement, assessment, and evaluation. The three key concepts for judging learners and taking the decision onto it. What are the three concepts? Measurement, assessment, evaluation. Let's check one by one. What are all these concepts? Measurement. The process of assigning numerical values to a learner's performance. That is the measurement. Observing the learner performance and assigning a numerical values, or rather marks, for the learner to judge his or her performance. Like a student scores 78 out of 100 in a test. This is a measurement. Their answers are judged, and on the basis of that, a particular marks is given. That measurement is given. That is measurement. Now, what the assessment? Because one particular marks, when the student is getting in a particular examination or paper, it cannot completely judge the student. It is not completely judge the student's development or understanding. We need certain other things to analyze also. So measurement is not enough for judging or taking any decision about a student. So we come on to the assessment. What is assessment? Collection of information about learning for improving teaching learning of the student. So collection of information about learning for the particular learner that is collected. It is useful for improving the teacher's teaching as well as learning development of the students. Like example, teacher observes classroom participation, assignments, and the presentation of the student, and therefrom it judges how much understanding is developed within the student, or what is exactly required to give a new information to the student, or what revision work is necessary for developing or improving the student's performance. That is judged on the basis of this particular observation. So this is assessment. What is evaluation? Evaluation, this is for judging the value or effectiveness of learning based on assessment data. That means marks is given, then in the measurement, in the assessment, informations about learning is collected, therefrom getting the idea about the students' learning, and then in evaluation, judging the value or effectiveness of learning from the assessment data and the teacher will be able to take a decision about the student or learner, exactly what is his or her effective learning outcome, whether he has learned everything or whether he has certain problem which is necessary to have a remedial teaching for making it up. So that particular judgment is possible to be taken at the end of evaluation. So evaluation is judging the value or effectiveness of learning based on assessment data. Okay, so just an example, student is declared competent. Either what we are doing exactly in evaluation, we are taking a decision about the student on the basis of measurmental value and assessmental observation. What the decision we are taking? Decision is like that: student is declared as competent, or student needs improvement, or student is awarded a grade. Such type of decision is taken at the end of evaluation. So this is a continuous step or continuous and comprehensive evaluation phase. That measurement will be there, assessment will be there, and after that there will have an evaluation to do a complete decision or judgment about the learners by the teacher. So in short, we can say this process as MAE: measure, assess, evaluate. Generate the ultimate outcome of the student. MAE: measure, assess, and evaluate. Now we are giving a comparison of the three processes, that is measurement, assessment, and evaluation. Now first, measurement, it is quantitative. Of course, you are getting the marks for it. Depends on scores. It is of course numerical and it is objective. If I am coming on to the assessment, it is qualitative as well as quantitative. That means observation, analysis, and then particular numerical gradation is given in assessment. So assessment is qualitative and quantitative. Feedback is there. Assessment is a continuous process, and improvement of learner is only possible when there is a chance of assessment for them. Evaluation, decision making is possible, judgment can be taken, final decisions can be taken, and of course certification for the passing of the student, that is totally dependent on the evaluation. So these are the comparative features of the three stage. So if I am just giving an example of one particular student's process from measurement, assessment, and evaluation. Now, in case of measurement, student obtains 82 marks. So in assessment, what the teacher is doing, teacher observes strengths and weaknesses. In evaluation, after observing the marks as well as strength and weakness, student receives grade A from teacher. So that is done in evaluation after the measurement, assessment, and taking the decision. Now, we have the different type of assessment. Assessment, of course, I have told you, it is a continuous process. So assessment can be done well within the classroom when the class is going on. And as well as assessment is also possible to be taken at the very end of the lesson. So in the classroom, assessment is required to judge the gradual development of the learner. And at the end, when we are taking the assessment, overall learning outcome of the learners that can be tested. So assessment is of different type. We have the formative assessment, summative assessment, diagnostic assessment, prognostic assessment. First, we come on to the formative assessment. This is assessment for learning, practically. What are the examples? Class quiz, homework, oral questions, observation, exit ticket. These are the examples by which formative assessment can be taken. Summative assessment, this is assessment of learning, because we are taking this assessment at the end of the lesson. So it is assessment of learning. What are the examples by which we can take up the summative assessment? Semester examination, board examination, university examination, final project. All these are the summative assessment. Now, diagnostic assessment. This assessment is very much useful for identifying the students' problem which are inherited in their process of learning, which may obstruct their continuous process of learning. That can be identified and purposefully solved through the diagnostic assessment. So what are the purposes of diagnostic assessment? Identify learning out difficulties, discover misconceptions, plan remedial teaching. Now, example we can give, pre-test before starting algebra. That is diagnostic assessment. We are testing firstly the capability of the students about the calculation. Then we are proceeding to the algebraic calculation. Okay, prognostic assessment. The purpose is that predict future learning performances. That is very much useful for predicting the future learning performance of the student in case of prognostic assessment. Example, where we are doing the prognostic assessment, aptitude tests, entrance test, these are all the prognostic assessment that we are taking. And in case of, it can be of examinations type, placement test. This is also the prognostic assessment. Okay. So these are the examples or where we can do the prognostic assessment. Now we are dealing with the continuous and comprehensive evaluation, that is CCE. The whole process of assessment and evaluations of the learner, it should be a continuous and comprehensive evaluation. Don't think of at the very end when you are taking the final examination, and with respect to the marks of the final examination, a student can be judged. Because students, as a gradual development and progression throughout its journey in the classroom. So each and every time assessment to be taken for the student, if you are finding out the difficulties, automatically an improvement or remedial teaching will be provided. Then again, the improved assessment will be taken. And in that way, student will gradually progress, and ultimately we will take the final assessment just to see and observe exactly what is the student's overall performance or achievement. So the whole process of achievement and evaluations, that is in the school or in the college level, that is the CCE, or continuous and comprehensive evaluation. What does it mean? CCE evaluates learners continuously throughout the academic year and covers both scholastic and co-scholastic development. So each and everything is studied. Their academic performances as well as their co-academic, like somebody maybe have the good performance in drawing, good performance in speech, that somebody can be a good orator also. So everything, the scholastic as well as co-scholastic development, that can be studied through the CCE, that is continuous and comprehensive evaluation. Now, what exactly continuous means? Which part are covered in continuous system? Classwork, assignment, projects, observation, quizzes, that are covered in the continuous process. And what in the comprehensive type? There is the knowledge, skills, attitude, values, and participation. These are covered in the comprehensive part. So covering all these things, we have the continuous and comprehensive evaluation, CCE. What are the benefits? It reduces examination stress because students are habituated of giving the assessment or examinations. So it reduces the examination stress. It provides regular feedback. It encourages holistic development. So these are the benefits of CCE. Now, whenever we are giving assignment, we are using the rubrics. We are fixing up certain category of marks that you are assigning for a certain performances. And on the basis of that, we are assessing or judging the evaluation sheet of the learner. So we come on to the rubrics in assessment. What is rubric? A rubric is a scoring guide with clearly defined performance criteria that is presetted, that which marks will be considered as excellent, which marks will be considered as a good. That particular marks or grade are prefixed. And on the basis of that chart, the students' answers or learners' answers are evaluated, judged, and that particular score is given. And ultimately, the decision is taken. Performance is excellent, performance is good, or there is a need for improvement for the purpose also. So here I have just giving you a dummy chart over there for the rubrics. Here something specified. For content criteria, 5 point is allotted for excellent, 4 point is good, and 2 point grade is assigned for the needs improvement. So if the students are getting 5, score 5 in content part, that means it's excellent content idea. If you're getting 4, it's a good. Or average, if you're getting 2 or below, that means it needs improvement in the content area. Same thing happens for the presentation, communication, or creativity structure. So these rubrics we are using always to make a standardized evaluation or assessment process. What are the advantage of using the rubrics at the time of assessment and evaluation? Transparent assessment and evaluation will be there, fair, reliable, consistent, and easy feedback is possible. Now coming on to the feedback in teaching. What is effective feedback? Effective feedback should be timely, specific, constructive, action-oriented, and encouraging. We can cite one example like poor answer. Such type of feedback must be avoided because it will discourage the student for doing the further improvement or further development. So what the feedback type should be there? Your explanation is correct, but support it with one real life example. That means we are not telling them, we are not giving the feedback that you have the poor answer. We have said, you have done a proper answer, but something is missing. Just add up these things, your answer will be more explicit and that will be accepted. Like the feedback is given in this statement, your explanation is correct, but support it with one real life example. So that is the effective feedback. We can just talk about the feedback cycle, how the feedback can be generated: observation, comment, improvement, reassesses, then feedback is generated. Okay, so this is the feedback process that we have discussed. Now we come on to the outcome-based evaluation, OBE. Exactly what is this? Outcome-based education focuses on what learners should know and be able to do after completing instruction. That means before instruction, or the outcomes are presetted. And whenever we are providing the instruction, we are trying to reach those particular outcomes so that effective learning development is done for the student. What are the components that are there in outcome-based evaluation? Program outcome or PO, program specific outcome PSO, course outcome CO, and learning outcome LO. These are the components that we have done in the outcome-based education, and it should be prefixed, and on the basis of that, we will have to try out to reach that particular target. We can cite one example. For example, it is stated in that way: after today's lecture, students should be able to explain Bloom's taxonomy, differentiate assessment and evaluation, solve UGC NET questions. These are the outcome that you have fixed. Now, after the lesson being over, we will have to check whether all those outcomes are attained or not. If they are attained, that means effective development or learning development is done for the student. So this is the outcome-based evaluation or OBE system. Now we come on to the competency-based assessment. Assessment based on demonstrated knowledge, skills, and attitude. Rather than memorization alone, it is the competency-based assessment. That means in case of assessment, we are not just giving some of the questions and ask the student just give the answer. This will be totally focusing on to their memorization. But in case of competency-based assessment, we are providing some of the demonstrated knowledge, skills, and attitude. And on that particular basis, we are judging the competency that is developed within the student. So the competency-based assessment, it is based on demonstrated knowledge, skills, and attitude. It is not at all memorization-based. How it can be measured? So it can be measured by knowledge, skill, attitude, generate competency. So competency combines three measuramental features: knowledge determination, skill development, attitude making. These three combines the competency of any of the learner. We can give some of the examples of this competency-based assessment, like portfolio, project, viva, demonstration, and performance task. These are the certain examples of the competency-based assessment. Now we are coming on to the very important, some of the massive, some of the online courses. First, MOOC, MOOC, MOOC. MOOC is the massive open online courses. What is MOOCs? MOOCs are online courses designed for large-scale participation, providing flexible, affordable, and accessible learning opportunities. What are the characteristics that we have in the MOOCs? It is open access, flexible learning, self-paced, interactive assessments, and digital certification. All these are the features or characteristics of the MOOCs courses. What are the advantages that we are getting in the MOOCs courses compared to the other courses? Advantages are: learn anytime, anywhere. It is cost effective, useful for the lifelong learning, industry relevant skills are there, global learning community can be connected. These are the advantages for the different MOOC courses. We are just citing one very popular and important MOOC domain where we can, or the student can access different open online courses. That is SWAM, NPTEL, Coursera, edX, FutureLearn. These are the portal or domain for the MOOCs, the most popular, important portal or domain for the MOOCs, where the student can access different online courses. Now, we are just moving on to some discussion on SWAM, NPTEL, and Diksha Swam. Diksha, exactly what are the features that are there, who are initiating them? That is a SWAM, NPTEL, and Diksha. First, start with SWAM. It is a study waves of active learning for young aspiring minds. What are the features of the SWAM? Government of India initiative it is. School to postgraduate courses, all are available. Credit transfer opportunities are there. Free access to the course content. These are the features of the SWAM courses. NPTEL, this is National Program on Technology Enhanced Learning. NPTEL is a national program on technology enhanced learning. What are the features that are included here? IITs and IISc initiative. This is engineering, science, management, humanities, all the courses are covered in the NPTEL portal or sites. And of course, there is a certification is there. At the end of the course, certification examinations are also conducted. Then we come on to the Diksha. Diksha is a digital infrastructure for knowledge sharing. School education platform, teacher training, digital textbook, as well as digital enabled learning. Now we are moving on to the Swayamprabha and virtual learning. Swayamprabha, this is 24/7 educational DTH television channel. High quality lectures are provided over there. It supports remote learning. This is Swayamprabha. Now we are coming on to the virtual learning environment or VLE. Examples, Moodle, Google Classroom, Microsoft Teams. What are the benefits that you are getting from VLE or virtual learning environment? It is flexible, accessible, it is interactive, and it supports blended learning. Let's discuss with the very important thing, that is artificial intelligence or AI in education. What is AI in education? AI refers to intelligent computer systems that support teaching, learning, assessment, and educational administration. Application of AI in education: personalized learning, intelligent tutoring system or ITS, automated assessment, adaptive learning, learning analytics, chatbots, content generation. Examples of AI in education: ChatGPT, Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini. These are the examples of artificial intelligence system that we can use in the educational platform or system. What are the opportunities and challenges for AI? Opportunities, that means advantages, and challenges, that are the limitations of using AI in education system. Opportunities, this is personalized instruction, faster feedback, data-driven teaching, administrative efficiency, inclusive support. These are the opportunities or advantages of AI. Challenges or limitation: privacy concerns, algorithmic bias, academic dishonesty, digital divide, over dependence on technology. These are the challenges or limitation of using AI in education. Now, digital citizenship. Digital citizenship refers to the responsible, ethical, and safe use of digital technologies. What are the components of digital citizenship? Digital etiquette, digital communication, digital literacy, digital rights, digital responsibilities, digital safety. Good practices in digital citizenship: it verify informations, it respect copyright, it maintain online etiquette, protect passwords, respect others online. So this is, we are dealing with the digital citizenship. Now come on to the academic integrity. What is academic integrity? What does it mean? Academic integrity means maintaining honesty and ethical behavior in teaching, learning, and research. Academic integrity includes honesty, trust, fairness, respect, responsibility, courage. Where the academic integrity is violated or where there is a chance of violations of academic integrity? Plagiarism, fabrication, cheating, unauthorized AI use, contract cheating. In all these cases or situations, academic integrity may be violated. So they should always be avoided. What is the role of a teacher to maintain the academic integrity? Promote ethical research and proper citation practices. That is the role. Teacher has to promote ethical research and proper citation practices. Then academic integrity can be maintained in the research area. Now come on to the future trends in teaching. Already the present situations, each and everything are discussed. Now we are predicting the future trends in teaching. What are the emerging trends that we may have at present? The emerging trends are, number one, AI-assisted teaching. Of course, this is our very near future of AI-assisted teaching. Adaptive learning system, learning analytic, augmented reality or AR, virtual reality, VR, gamification, personalized learning, competency-based education, hybrid classroom, lifelong learning. All these are the future trends in or teaching or the emerging trends. Now, what will be the role of teacher in this future emerging trends? If all those trends are exactly materialized in the education system, then what will be the role of teacher? They cannot be called as a teacher. What they will be, and that they are also calling at present situations also. They are calling and they will be calling as a facilitator. They will be the designer of learning experiences. They will be mentor, technology integrated educator, and of course, they themselves will be the lifelong learner. So the teacher, the future teacher, the future prospect of the teacher is as a facilitator, as a designer of learning experiences, as mentor, as technology integrated educator, as well as lifelong learner.